Hello, friends and family. So it has been almost 24 hours since Daniel and I announced that we are going to become foster parents, and the response has been so overwhelming. We have just been absolutely surrounded by love by everyone. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I don't think we can thank you enough for all of your love and support and just kind words. A few of you guys have been asking, how do you become foster parents? And I can only speak for the state of Missouri. And so I'm going to run through our application real quick and just kind of list off like what is required and expected for your initial application. So you do have to be 21 years old, minimum age. It doesn't matter if you are single or married. You can be renting either a house or an apartment or condo. You can own your own home. It doesn't matter. Daniel and I just bought our first house, so we are homeowners. Yay! And you have to be in good physical, mental health, and we will learn more about that as time goes on, I'm sure. I know we have to go through a physical just to get checked off, make sure that we are capable of raising kids. We're healthy enough to raise kids. And there are some restrictions on the house as far as how many bedrooms per child and things like that. And you don't have to be wealthy, but you do have to have enough to be able to support yourself. And bringing a child in, you have to be able to clothe them and feed them and house them like any other mommy and daddy would do. So it's just the natural, what you would assume you can do. So real quick, I'm going to go through my application. We have applicant 1 and applicant 2. So I'm applicant 1, Daniel's applicant 2. Our birthday, date of birthplace, gender, race, church attending, and some of these things are optional. They ask about our schooling history, they ask about our occupations, and military service, if we're veterans or things like that. And then section 2, it talks about the household composition. So if Daniel and I were to have any other kids, or we were to have a roommate, or we were to have anyone else living with us, we would have to put down their information as well. And that includes all children in the household. And then next, it asks about our marital status. So if I was a single woman, I would just write I'm single, but we are married. Woohoo! And it kind of asks like where we were married at, when we were married. It asks if we have ever been separated, which we have not. It also asks whether either of us have been divorced. And this is where you do have to give documentation, things like that. So if Daniel and I were to have ever been divorced, we would have to provide like divorce papers and things like that. And I think you'd have to provide maybe the contact information or some information about like a previous spouse. But again, Daniel and I are not in that situation, so I'm not quite sure how that all goes. And then section 4, it is asking for 5 references. So they are asking for 3 non-relatives that they can contact, and then also 2 relatives. And we have 5 just incredible people who we love so much and have been a huge part of both of our lives, and we are so grateful for them who have been willing to be references. And we've even had an abundance of people volunteer. So thank you to everyone who has volunteered to help us out with that. And then section 5, it is supplemental information. And to me, I really like this section. It asks if we have ever adopted or fostered, and it asks us to give the names of anyone that we have fostered or adopted. And we have not done either of those things yet, so we're beginners. And it asks if we've ever been studied in regard to child custody. We've never had children in our custody before, so that's not a thing that we've done. And we are requesting more information about being an emergency foster home. So that would be if a child was taken out of the home kind of in the middle of the night and needed a safe place to recover for the night until they can find a more permanent placement. We are absolutely willing to do that. So that could be, I mean, we could, if we were to get an emergency child, they would probably come to us with just the clothing on our back, and it doesn't always mean that the clothing that they have is even suitable for them. So it's one of those we're going to have to be really prepared for, but we're also very excited to do that. It asks if we are willing to be active participants in the development and implementation of a treatment designed to provide permanency to a child. And what that means is the goal of foster care is not adoption. The goal of foster care is reunification with the family if possible. That is always the goal. They want the child to be with their natural family because it's healthy. Unfortunately, there are times when that can't happen, and that's really sad. But reunification, I think, will always be the goal. Many of you have asked if we are wanting to foster adopt, and Daniel and I both talked about it. We are open to adoption. We're not against adoption in any way, shape, or form. But a huge majority of the kids that come into foster care are never going to be legally open to adopt. And so you have to understand if they're not legally open to adopt, that means there's something going on with the birth parents or a biological family member of some sort where they could gain custody of the child, and it would be in the best interest of the child. Everything is geared for the best interests of the child, and while that might not always happen, it's definitely Daniel and I's goal to be helpful in that. Hopefully I didn't say that too confusing. But yes, our goal is definitely reunification into a healthy and safe environment for the child. And we just want to love on the kids the best that we can while they're in our homes and under our care. So we are absolutely, definitely okay with that. I'm okay, and I know we're both okay with service providers coming into our home if the child were to need counseling or supervised visits. That's totally fine. If there's any type of medical or behavioral treatment that needs to happen, we are absolutely okay and willing to do that. In my job now, I assist support coordinators for families with disabilities, and I love it and would absolutely be willing to have that occur in my household. And then there is, are you willing to participate in training sessions designed to increase your knowledge about foster and adoptive children? We put yes. We know that there are classes we have to take, so we're of course willing to do that. And then there is this list of things. It says, do you understand the following? And it's, if you understand it, put yes. If you don't, press no. And then if you want more information, just put like an M or something. And so I'm just going to read those off really quick. It's good to know the differences. The difference between specialized and traditional foster care, the difference between foster care and adoption, that a foster child's history is confidential, that foster parents are responsible for the day-to-day care of foster children. Foster parents are expected to be participant members of the family support team. The different payment rates for foster children. That foster care does not automatically lead to adoption. That licensing as a foster home does not guarantee a placement of the child. And that approval as an adoptive home does not guarantee a placement of a child. And all of those things are super, super important to know and to learn about. And so I encourage any of you, if you are thinking that you might be interested one day, just to do like some research, because there's a lot that goes into the foster care system. And I think a lot of people think, oh, well, I want to adopt, and to adopt out of foster care is free, so I'm just going to do that. And while that is absolutely amazing and there's a lot of truth to that, there's also a huge amount of children who aren't legally free to adopt who need a safe home for a time while their parents are healing. Hi, husband. My husband just got home from work. He's been working hard today.
Who is that?
It is the video. I'm talking about our foster application to explain to our friends and family about our application.
Yay.
I'm almost done.
I love you too.
Love you, babe. Yeah, so Daniel just got home from a really long, hard day at work. I'm so proud of him. He's so great. Next, it talks about where we live. So we give our address, and we kind of explain a little bit about our house, like how many rooms it has, where it's located. So we kind of give directions, which is, I feel like I don't know where they want directions to and from, so I just kind of winged it. They ask for our financial information, and that is not like for them to like judge us and be like, you're so poor, or like, holy cow, you have all the money in the world. Because Daniel and I are not super wealthy by any means, but they want to make sure that we can accurately provide enough food for the kids to eat, and feed ourselves and clothe the kids, as we would want to, obviously. And then it asks about law violations other than traffic offenses. So that's good, like yes or no, and then explain. And next, it asks about the health. And this one might make people nervous, like, oh my goodness, I take medication, or I have a chronic illness. I have chronic illness, and Daniel has chronic illness, and so it's not something to be too worried about. We'll definitely like talk to you guys about the process there if anything comes up, but it does ask for health conditions, disabilities, medications taken, like how much, why, and whatnot. So I just explained that for both of us. And then it asks, like the next one, it asks if any of our family receives currently or has in the past received any type of service. And it lists disability services or disability benefits, psychiatric, psychological services, physical therapy, individual family counseling, marital counseling, social services, or special education. Now, with this, don't be afraid to put that you have received services, like marital counseling. Daniel and I went for the first year of our marriage, and it was the best thing ever. So if you are engaged or planning on getting married ever, go to marital counseling because it's the best. You learn so much about communication, and holy cow, like now I'm living my life with a whole other person, and it's a really amazing experience. You learn a lot about one another, so don't be afraid to put down those types of things. And then the rest of it, you just sign and date and your social security number, mostly office stuff. So that is our application. I put a call in tonight to a foster care agency, and it was after hours. So hopefully tomorrow I can call them and meet up with a social worker or have a social worker come out to our house. So that way we can get a case file, and then I will hand over all of our paperwork to be processed. So that's where we're at right now, and we are very excited. So please comment if you have any questions or want to know anything else about the process, and we are super happy to share with y'all. So we love you, and we thank you so much for your love and support. So thank you. Have a great day.